Empty one? Or do you need water or something?
Yeah.
Tamir is parking in the garage down below. Amazing.
Sie gibt
Manchmal.
Okay, and Ron, how does it look?
Looks fine.
You have clear,
It's, I checked it, yes.
checked it. Malcolm Root's head's okay? Hair in the back? Check your hair. So the area is making sure he gets up from the garage. I think he just had an event and talk last night, from what I understand, in Tel Aviv, and so he's been very, very busy, getting ready to leave out country tomorrow. So we're very thankful that he's able to join us.
Is this the hand? Yeah.
Squeeze this in. Let me get a glass of water or hot tea or something? What would you like? Hot water? Someone could get a cup of hot water for Tamir? If everybody could turn their phones off so we don't have any interruptions. Reading myself. Power off.
No, he's here. He's here.
Everybody on the
Die gelben sind
So Miriam, would you like to say a few words to everybody? Everyone's here now. For those of you that don't know, Miriam is our hostess tonight, and would like to share a few things before we go.
I really thank all of you for coming. I'm so happy to see you here. And I've just got a couple of little housekeeping things. One is these plastic plates are dishwasher proof, so please don't throw them out. Put them in the dishwasher and use them again. And also the shea retainer right in the hallway here. So enjoy this evening. And,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Miriam, for your hospitality.
Yeah, the sauce for the fruit is totally non-dairy. It's cashew and a lot of Ceylon. And these are lemon curd pomataku with lavender and chocolate. I didn't do this. So enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you.
So I will, let's see, I will introduce myself the best later.
Oh, you should introduce you.
Well, that's okay. So my name's Leora Parker, for those of you that don't know me. I'm the admin for Jerusalem Artist, not Jerusalem Artist, that's another group, Jerusalem Arise. So that's on Telegram. And connected to these other wonderful groups that brought us all together tonight. So I will be sharing with you and Tamir what we've got in store. And we have a cup of hot water for Tamir. I thought, did somebody give a cup of hot water? I asked.
Water?
Water? Hot water?
No, we started Tanit, no?
Huh?
It's Tanit now, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can.
I just ended it.
Yes.
Oh, just ended, okay, oh, sorry.
And there's some wonderful.
Okay, so how water will
Yeah, awesome, thank you. So, I will be, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight, and all the people you see around you are people that are connected in different groups or know someone and has been invited to be basically like-minded in the sense of knowing what is going on in this country and around the world, actually.
Yeah.
And we want to, if you have any questions, like I said, put it one line question. If we have time, we'll be addressing that. The way the evening is going to be run tonight, I will be the moderator, and I will be going through 3 categories that I was able to post in some groups. Medical, home, and public, and questions that will be under those headings. And I will be asking Tamir Turgal what he will be able to advise us on, if there's, so that we respond properly to any these certain situations if they come about. This was brought about by what happened with this mother of 9 children. Some of you may know of it, some of you may not. And there were a lot of things that happened in that was violation of her rights and the family's rights. And it was very traumatic for the whole family. And we realized that we don't have the answers. If it happens, similar things happen to us, such as can someone take our child away and give them a shot if we don't want them to have, or come into our home and take us away somewhere or arrest us, and we want to ask those questions tonight. So that will be, these will be timed sessions. So for question and answer back and forth here, and time for maybe 2 questions addressed under that heading before we move to the next. And then, according if we have enough time, which we have allowed, to answer some questions at the end. All of those would be 1-line questions, no stories because of time restrictions. Thank Miriam for having us. I want to introduce Tamir Turgal, and thank you for coming. And many of you know him. He's on the forefront for fighting causes for human rights. So we much appreciate him squeezing in his time, a very busy time, to be here with us this evening. Again, the session is going to be recorded, and I appreciate that everybody's phone is off and time will start.
Okay.
Deep breath.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. Really, it's so interesting to know that there are so many people that know what's going on, that are awake, and paying attention to what's serious changes that our society is going through, or on a global scale and a local scale, and that's obviously concerning. And if I can help, then that's one of the skills that God gave me, and I will be doing my job just to share it on forward.
So the first category is the medical category. Like say, respond by what happened. You have a recording on that. The Hebrew group passed on, had received. And so one of the first questions is, can the hospital, urgent care, or physician deny us medical care if we refuse to submit to a COVID test, wearing a mask, or receiving any type of vaccination?
Okay. To refuse or deny, to prevent from getting a treatment, it's something that happens. So if you ask me if that can happen, already happened, so it can happen again. If it's right, or if let's try to rephrase it. It's likely to happen. I would say at this time, no. You don't have any even mask requirement at medical institute, if it's the hospital or other healthcare place. So they don't have it anymore. I think it's about 3 or 4 weeks since they let it go. Of course, to my understanding and the way I see reality and what is even allowed for the government, for the country to ask from us, I think they crossed the lines really, really long time ago. So if anybody is disobeying to kind of requirements, like let's say like masks for test, I will explain a little bit about what is it based on, but I'm just going to first of all make the statement. I think it's illegal to require from you to do that, and it's definitely fine to disagree and don't comply. I think this is, in my point of view, actually not only our right, we have to do it. So medical procedures and wearing a mask should be also something that supposedly is supporting or preventing from disease to spread, which is not true, by the way, but it doesn't matter if it's true or not. This is a procedure. Taking a test, it's a procedure. Taking a shot, a jab, it's definitely a procedure. We have a principle that is named informed consent, and I'm sure everybody here knows about informed consent. This principle was developed after World War II, but I'm not going to get into the history at this point if it's not relevant. I'm going to just emphasize that informed consent means that we have to want something. So we are giving our consent to get treatment, and we have to be informed. Informed means several conditions that we should get sufficient information. But if we can give a consent, it's inherent in it that we can also not give any consent. So that means that it's a two-way road. Yeah? And another principle that is hidden within this, and again, I'm pretty sure that most of you already heard me saying that, or at least somebody else, it's our privacy, because we cannot make a decision in health relates to our body, regarding to our health, that will be really, really a free decision if we have any kind of pressure that could be related to that decision. So if I have to reveal it, and then there are going to be consequences if I do or if I don't, then it's not a free decision. And I always give the when I explain that, I always give the allegory, like when we go to vote for the parliament. Every now and then in Israel, right? So it's private. you have your own place, just a few moments to choose the note you want, and then you put it and nobody sees it. Because if that was not a closed confidential area, on the contrary, you would have to show it to everybody while you're voting, then you would probably take under consideration what would be the reaction of the people and how much you are in danger not to show the right note. So the same way that we want, there are some things as a society that we want to be private, and our medical situation, condition, and decisions is one of them. And that's changed because some people that have, I don't know, like external interests or whatever, people that have power decided to ignore. And that's happened in the state of the Jewish people after the Holocaust. So that's kind of a weird situation we are in, but that's the basis for me to feel confident, comfortable enough to tell you guys that when somebody is trying to impose something which is not right and not within their rights, then we should not comply. With that said, we have to be smart, and I would try to be very efficient tonight, as I was in my recording in Hebrew, telling people, giving some advice, what I think we should be, what we should know, where we are, what is the arena, and how to react to a situation, because sometimes you have to be wise and not go just with your rights, because if to play with the democratic game, everybody has to agree that we are in a democratic game. And when you're facing people that they cannot have, they don't have the capacity even sometimes to understand what is the borderline, what are the borderlines. So then you have to be smarter and do the right thing.
So many of us in this group have already faced denied medical care. Some have taken the cases to court also because of that. And so we've tried to build our own community here amongst us to be able to have some place to go and someone to ask for help. Like if we have to go to the hospital and we're told that we have to have this or have that, as this situation came upon this family, what they did, we want to learn from what we should do, so that we act appropriately within what we should be doing if we're denied or told.
Well, the story of the family in Netanya, the religious people with 9 kids, is not so much about denying or preventing a treatment. Is on another aspect of it is forcing a treatment upon people. So that's different than the previous question, and that's very harsh. It's very, very sad. By the way, I haven't introduced myself. Is that okay? I mean, that's not necessary. I'm a lawyer.
We all know
I'm
you.
just some person.
You are introduced.
Everybody knows you.
Okay. All right. So where were we? And that's really, to be honest with you guys, one of the sad aspects of my profession, of my activity, things that I am dealing with a lot of, many times, frustration. As a lawyer, or somebody knows the law, even what we just talked so far about, listen, we are gathering here to see how do we deal with something that should not be here in the first place, with all due respect. I mean, this is basic human stuff. I'm not like coming here from, like very smart people has to understand those things. This is like the basics of human conduct, and people just lost it. And why did they lost it? Because of fear. Because they're instilling fear in them, exactly how they've done 90 years ago without naming names. Nazis. So this is unbelievable. I'm sorry, yeah, but this is, and again, when, and it doesn't come just like that. It comes because there is a tendency, because there is a superficiality that going on for a long time, and people are starting to think as what we call
Brainwash.
totalitarian democracy. It's a democracy, but only when everybody are gathering around and going the narrative. If you're not, you're gonna get squashed. Yeah, exactly. So when, and that's the big problem, because when people they lose the boundaries, they lose the brakes, then unfortunately we saw what can happen, and we'll have to see what is happening right now. This is no less than a rape. I'm sorry, it's a very harsh word, but this is what it is. It doesn't change the truth. I mean, the kid, I am dealing right now, to this day, with a new case of a woman, and she is also Chozeret B'Tshuva from somewhere in the center, and she didn't hear my recording. It didn't get to her because it doesn't get to anybody, and that's what God wants that will happen, and that's how I have to have face sometimes the frustration, because she went just a few days ago before the weekend. She's Ima Yechidanit, how do you say it in English? Like
Single mother.
Single mother,
Yeah.
sorry. It was a long drive. So she's a single mother, and she's afraid. And I also had a kind of a emunah talk with her about, like, how can you be afraid from people if you chazel b'tshuva, if you really understand there is a Shem, then you don't afraid from people. But she's not in afraid, she's like in a horror. She's like
In a terror.
very afraid, okay? There is better words for that. There are. But anyway, she terrified. Yes. I would think that would be the one. That somebody will, and that's also, I've seen it in the questions here, so that will relate to a few more additional questions. And this is something I think it's a fundamental, one of the things I came here for is for this. Don't be afraid, and don't exaggerate the fear of what can happen. It's really not even in that direction that they will take the kids away from you. No way, no how, doesn't work like that. What they want to do, if there is a problem that they want to coerce medical procedure, that's what they want. Even if they think that the parent is wrong or not a great parent at this point, it's not reflecting, even from the bad guy's point of view, let's put it that way, even from the authorities' point of view, that, if the parents doesn't want to vaccinate, maybe they're not good and are not fit enough to be a good parent. It's not even the way they think. And that woman was afraid of that. Let's put it this way, when you are operating from fear, you are bound to make mistakes. I am now escorting her, and so far it seems that we will balance whatever we can at this point, but if she had heard my recording, she would know what to say and play the game right, and then she would not get into the trouble that I have to be very sophisticated to help her go out from. Okay, and also need God's help, because everything is, without it, we're lost. But that's what I say. It's frustrating because it's just people don't know. And here is just to be clear, because I think I'm telling the story too widely. Let's just sum it everything. A parent, the kid is injured. In this case, it was the same with the parents in Netanya. It was at home. Some glass was broken, and the kid was running, and she got something in her hand, and it just needed a few stitches. Now, There is no evidence, any even memory for any tetanus that was developed in a wound from home environment. It's not happening in reality. It doesn't happen. But it doesn't matter to the people on the out there that are supposed to be treating us. And every time after they do the stitches, there's the question. Is she vaccinated, the kid? Is he vaccinated? You need to get the tetanus shot. And then if you say, no, of course we don't need it, we just had them lately, then you're done, you're good. Nobody's going to check the records.
Right.
Yeah. No, maybe if I start talking about it too much, then they must change the ways. But now this is what it is. We have to do what we can do right now. It's so stupid that even in the new case I'm dealing with, they wanted to give there are two kinds of tetanus shot. There is one, what we call the passive and the active. The passive is you get already the antibodies within, it's taken from a serum of people that are supposed to be immune. And with the active is just have all the ingredients that will make your body develop those antibodies. And it takes 3 to 4 weeks. So if you're injured, if you get the active one, it's not going to help you. Because if you're injured, they are saying the magical word, which is life-threatening situation. Once they use this, how do you call it, joker in cars, right? That's it. And then the road is open until coercion. They go through. It starts from the doctors or nurses. It goes through the revacha, the social workers. There are very few of them that I met during my career that are good people. I'm not saying they aren't, but there are very few. Many of them are between really
Not smart.
no, I would say atumim, like they're close-minded, with not sensitive to even sadist. That's, I would say, the scale. And then it goes to the Parklitu, to the DA, and the DA works with the judge, and it's always the same judge. If it's like in Netanya, we know who's or this area, we know exactly who it's going to be. If it's Tveria, we know exactly who it's going to be. And sometimes we can reverse, we can change, we can appeal and win. It happens. It happened in Natzeret, but this is again not happening a lot, and it really depends if you have one. You're lucky to find one of those because it's hard for them to go all the way in the higher court. It's a little bit harder for the system to manipulate them. This kind of relations, but I didn't believe it for a long time because I thought Israel is not corrupted. Israel is not corrupted, so like I would say, I don't know, like Iran or Turkey. It's not the same. You're joking, fine. Maybe you're right. Maybe I was naive, but ideologically there is a corruption, and unfortunately it goes way up to the or starting way up from the Supreme Court and then down to all of them. You go to court today and you see that the judge, even the nicer of them, but they are consider themselves with almost endless power, and they can also make laws. We don't confuse them with the law that the lawmakers make, because they're stupid. Who are them to make the laws? The judges know exactly what's supposed to be the law, and if it's not the law, then it doesn't matter. It's just, we'll do what we think is right. That's like no dignity, no,
Accountability.
exactly. No Hashem is around, and that's how white people are being like that.
Not fun.
Okay, so the second question would say that that's answered. Can they take our children away from us while in a medical facility if we refuse to let them give our children a COVID test, wear a mask, or get any type of vaccination? Can they take our children children away from us and,
So as I said, as I already,
do it themselves, so, which is what they proposed to this woman and gave her that option. She either holds the child or.
yeah, and they were,
They do it.
they were so rude to tell her after, when she said, I want to get a paper because she wants to sue or she wants to do something with that you approved that the kid got the shot against my will. They said, really? Against your will? You hold it. And that's like really insanity because it's like somebody pointing a gun and tell you,
Yeah.
give me all the money you got. And you give it to him and said, well, you gave it to me. I mean, they left her no choice. They were very brutal. I know how they work, by the way, how they work. The fact that the judge, they got it on 10 o'clock, the order, and then 11 o'clock they were there, something like that, I guess. And I know, I haven't seen the decision. I know, I can bet a lot of money. I know who's the judge, I know the name, because there is always the same one. He didn't want to see them. I was involved in other cases even when before I got involved. But the judge was fair enough. Thank God that they're doing their job, they're getting paid for it. To ask the DA, what he do, he says, I'm sorry, I'm not giving you any order until I'm seeing those parents here in the court. I mean, normally we have the court like the one, it's like at night, it's like on the shift. And so there is no problem to get the parents. He could also tell them, listen, okay, I will give you the order, bring it to me, and if I'm not convinced, then you can, I will give you the order to vaccinate forcibly. And I'm not sure if the mother would say, you know what, I'm not going to do anything, you can take the kid forcibly and do it. I don't know what would happen. I don't know if there is enough safety in the hospital to say, you know what, I'm going to comply with that. Because this is like, they push it until the limit, but they don't think too much ahead. I saw sometimes that, since sometimes even when they get the order, it's very hard it's not so easy to do it. You have to take somebody now and be aggressive to him, a child, against the will of the parents. If the parents, even if they're wrong, I mean, this is parenthood. You are wrong all the time. Who is the government to come here only one time? If they say, okay, you know what, we want to be involved in any decision you're making, and they're, involved in your life from early morning to night, then it's not okay, but I can understand the logic. But only this time you want to save the kid, that's it, you'll save them, you will hurt the family, you'll be aggressive with them, whatever, and then just let them go and move on with your life. It's just, if these parents are neglecting their children, then we have to deal with it. It's not going to help if you save the kid one time. It's